there was no way anybody could laugh on the set. Because Kanu didn't want that. Kanu said, it's a very dark film. Please don't disturb the pitch of the film. Cameraman मुझसे बोलता था, सर ये कौन सी जगह खोजा है इसने सर, यहाँ डिप्रेशन हो रहा है सर.
You've put another man into Manoj, the same way that you did with Bhiku Mhatre. You're entering crime scene of Bombay all over again about 26 years later. How was this different from that? Another actor from Bihar, incidentally, Sushant Singh Rajput. Perception was created that this city killed him, or he couldn't handle the pressures of the city.
मुझे लोग कहते हैं, are you comfortable with the attention that you've been getting from people? I said, no, how can I? Tell me. For 25 years, I haven't gotten that attention, यार.
Salman wouldn't know what it is to be a common man.
मतलब जब चल रहा है तो 50 लोग साथ में चल रहे हैं, 40 लोग साथ में चल रहे हैं, चाहे शाहरुख का हो, चाहे.
सर आपकी भी अंतराज जैसे कम नहीं है.
नहीं, ये Z5 वाले हैं.
अच्छा ठीक है.
सत्या के कुछ साल तक तो मैं गिल्ट होता था 5 स्टार में जाते हुए भी. तो it was Akshay Khanna who said, Manoj, why you are feeling so guilty about your success? Don't feel guilty. Own it. Hi, this is Manoj Bajpayee and you are watching me on Midday.
Hello and welcome to the Bombay Film Story. My name is Mayank Shekhar. This is a podcast about Bombay as in Mumbai. It's a podcast about films as in movies. It's also a podcast that looks at both these things through the lens of a person who is important to both the city and of course cinema. With me is actor Manoj Bajpayee. Thank you so much, Manoj.
Thank you
for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, it's always a pleasure to chat with you. I've been chatting with you for कितने साल हो गए?
More than 2 decades.
2 decades, drunken nights.
Drunken nights, yes.
you in a rickshaw, yes. Going back from a party, आपका रास्ता खो गया, etc., etc. It's been quite a journey, and has it been such a journey of Bombay? You know, one thing I do understand about you, and which I think थोड़ा मैं तोड़ूंगा आपका आज इस conversation में. You're not hugely into nostalgia. इतना पसंद नहीं करते हैं.
हाँ. पता नहीं, मतलब वो एक बिहारियों की आदत थी जो I used to hate it, and mainly my father always talking about, यार 1971 की बात है, मुझे याद है, you know. So, and I always found it quite hilarious and also futile why to get into that. But when you are remembering a shift or transition of time, that I find much more interesting.
Right.
Like when I talk to someone about the studio system and how it kind of withered away, how we saw it going away, and independent producers taking over.
50s.
And then the film shooting started coming out of the studios, and then slowly the dominance of the independent producers giving way to corporate houses. You know, one has seen all of that.
Right.
So I like to delve into those things rather than really individual achievements.
1951 में जो कर रहे थे. But you know, I have to start this conversation, of course, with your relationship with this city. Right. Your relationship with Bombay. What kind of relationship is it? Is it love? Is it hate? Is it a toxic relationship?
No, it's a very neutral.
Okay.
I'm like an observer who's also working here. It can't be love, it can't be hate, because I came from Bihar to Delhi.
Yeah.
Then Delhi University and theatre. Then I came to Mumbai. So I always felt like a refugee.
Yeah.
You know, going from one place to another, really not finding a home where you can think of going back to for 5 years or 4 years or 3 years. Each and every place was a temporary setup, right? So that has never let me, feel settled mentally.
Yeah.
Or
so Bombay doesn't feel like home to you?
It doesn't.
After so many years?
No, not really.
Really?
I was telling someone, it's hilarious. I find it, I really wonder. I stayed in my village or in Bihar for say 18 and a half years.
Okay.
After
the first 18 and a half years.
18 and a half years. And after that I left for Delhi for college and theatre. And then I stayed in Delhi for 10 years. And I'm here in this city for so many years.
कितना साल हो गया?
I mean around 29, 30 years.
29, 30 years, it still doesn't feel like home to you.
It doesn't.
Huh? Like you feel like an observing outsider.
Observing outsiders, always. I find it very, I don't feel comfortable saying that I'm going home to my apartment. But I never could come to a situation where I could find an apartment, a home. For me, home was my parents, my village house. Okay, that's how I remembered home always. Okay, even in Delhi. So you were living in a Barsati, you were living in a setup of say one bedroom, where constantly moving, and then, so I think that's a different mental setup. I mean, I always thought that it's not a good thing. I have to, somehow convince myself that this is my setup. But the apartment that I live in with my family, this is where my daughter was born.
Yeah.
I should at least call it home.
You don't call it home?
I don't call it home.
And it's a place you own?
मैं ओबरॉय जा रहा हूँ. I mean, you understand? So मैं flat पे जा रहा हूँ.
Interesting.
I think it's a very refugee mentality.
You brought up Delhi, and एक तो सवाल पूछना ही पड़ेगा मुझे. It's the oldest urban India debate.
Right.
Delhi versus Bombay. What do you make of it? What do you think is the difference between Delhi and Bombay? What do you make of this divide?
Apart from the usual conversation that Bombay can only grow vertically, and Delhi is growing horizontally because it has space.
Right.
Yeah, but Delhi, I would still say that it's not truly a cosmopolitan. It is still, somewhere hanging between an urban mindset and a rural mindset. Also because it is surrounded by rural India. Okay, and the people who have been transitioning or shifting to Delhi, they were all coming from, say, small town or rural
or adjoining areas also.
Or adjoining areas or rural India like Bihar and UP.
Right.
Okay, mostly.
Right.
So they also got only only that culture and that behavioral pattern, not the cosmopolitan. Yeah, and even they started creating their own bubble, as it happens in the big cities, right? So nobody was ready to really embrace the metropolitan culture of Delhi. West Delhi is completely Punjabis came from Pakistan. So everyone has, they kept on creating their own bubble or ghetto, you can call it. But Mumbai that way is very, very cosmopolitan. Mumbai is truly a place where if you don't have money, you will have to struggle to find your next food. Mumbai is truly a place where nobody knows nobody. That way Delhi is still pokey.
Right. Interesting. So the Bombay you came to 30 years ago.
Right.
Was obviously a very different Bombay from what it is in 2024. What was that Bombay like?
Bombay was freshly hit by the bomb blast, 93.
Right.
And
so you moved around 94?
No, 93.
93 only?
93, we started shooting for Bandit Queen December 92.
Right.
And 93, we finished almost everything of Bandit Queen, and Saurabh Shukla and I, we took the next train. Okay.
So the moment you finished shoot, you knew something great has happened, and this might lead to better things, but maybe now you can move to Bombay?
We never thought that. We never thought that.
Okay.
It was Shekhar Kapoor who convinced us to move to Mumbai city, and somewhere he scared the hell out of us, because all of us were in Delhi in doing theatre for 10 years and we still haven't reached anywhere. We were very happy in our own bubble where 200 people, the select audience is coming to watch your plays, and you are very happy with those appreciation and the criticism, whatever. We are very happy in our own small groups of theatre activists. But it was Shekhar Kapoor who kind of woke us up. He said, guys, what are you doing? You come to Mumbai because you'll be falling sick, you'll be getting married. You guys have done enough theatre. Come on. I mean, come out of your idolism. Come to Mumbai. And then all of us
So there is an entire batch of Bandit Queen that came to Bombay.
Not only Bandit Queen, all of the Bandit Queen cast shifted at the same time. Entire.
Right.
And then along with us, it was just before us was Ashish Vidyarthi, just after us was Timanshu Dhulia and the rest of them. Because, somewhere we all were made insecure by Shekhar Kapoor. That you guys...
So if that conversation hadn't happened, if Bandit Queen hadn't happened, because it was per chance that this director comes to Delhi, cast entirely from National School of Drama and the theatre scene, you could have been a theatre actor all your life in Delhi. Would that be
maybe coming to Mumbai would have been delayed by say a couple of years. Coming here was the only choice for every actor in Delhi. And whereas
So you have to do film or television. That's where the money is.
No, I mean because we were this idealist young people, didn't want to compromise
On your art,
on your art and
expression.
on your
Right,
expression by doing Doordarshan, so or coming to Mumbai and be part of commercial cinema, which we didn't have space for us apart from the henchmen and the and the long distant brothers.
It was a crazy time, right? We are talking about 90s Bollywood. मतलब अब लोग बहुत बड़ा करके रखा है. Nostalgia is always an exaggeration, but it wasn't like the greatest.
It was the darkest time.
It was a dark time, right?
It was the darkest.
Proposal
time.
makers, white shirt, white pant, white shoes.
I mean, no matter how much they talk about the 90s retro and this and that, I read it and I sometimes watch those conversations. I say, they just forgot that in their words it was the darkest time of Mumbai film industry, and when we just lost touch with content and with quality, and we were only churning out formulas.
Right.
Yeah. And then slowly and steadily we started liking it also. Then we have had our own heroes of that time.
Of course.
Whom we hated, and at the same time after 5 years we started celebrating them, right? But it was, I think it's the late, just when it was 95, 96, the things started somewhere changing a little bit. Then you started seeing few of the films hitting the theatres which were completely different in their narrative, in their storytelling. Aesthetically quite. And then by 1990 when Satya came, it kind of, there was a tsunami of
which
change.
also perchance, right?
Perchance. It
कि ऐसा कोई film बन गया.
नहीं, ऐसा कोई filmmaker था, and ऐसा कोई filmmaker था, because Satya was not his first film. People always forget that it was not perchance for Ram Gopal Verma, and for the kind of bully that he was. He's already made Shiva in 2 languages.
And he also made Rangila.
And he also made Rangila before this, right? And the Kshanak before this. So this is the guy who was here to work on his own terms, right? And that is the kind of person, that is the kind of a bully that he was, that he didn't listen to any diktat. He did exactly what he wanted to do. And in the course of doing that, things started changing. I wouldn't say that he wanted to change. He just wanted to make films on his own terms and conditions.
Yeah. I mean, if again, let's say Ramu hadn't happened, would you be that actor who came to Bombay in the 90s when movie stars were changing their names, सारे कुमार बन रहे थे, अक्षय कुमार भी तो उसी time के ही हैं. Like, would you have been like, you couldn't have been Manoj Kumar, of course, because there's already. Were you named after Manoj Kumar?
Yeah, my father was named after Manoj Kumar.
Which is strange, right? Because Manoj Kumar himself is actually Hari Krishna Goswami, named after a character in Dilip Kumar film.
Right.
So उनका खुद का नाम नहीं है मनोज कुमार.
I know.
Right? But would you have been in that milieu कि यार अब नाम बदलते हैं, हीरो बनने की कोशिश करते हैं? Was that a thing? Because that's all there is here.
But there was no chance of us becoming hero in that time. I mean, people looking at us really didn't know what to do. I mean, so many people told me on my face, यार तेरा क्या करें यार, ना तो villain दिखता है, ना तो hero दिखता है. I have come to this industry with different kind of features, because actually they were very right. I was definitely not a hero looking, and I was definitely not a dangerous looking guy. Okay, that's how they used to cast. So what he can be
हीरो का दोस्त. 4 जो दोस्त घूमते रहते हैं उसके पीछे. They have no life of their own.
No. They have no story.
Nothing.
Their life is restricted to
this guy.
So, or henchmen, very happily. And you will not believe that I was chosen to play one of the henchmen. It was a significant role in Dod, Paresh Raul's henchman. Since it had few scenes, so they were looking for a good actor. And Kannan Iyer, who was chief to Shekhar Kapoor in Bandit Queen, he recommended me to Ramu, and that's how all that conversation of
no, but a henchman in a Ramu film at that time would also be very different from a henchman in a regular 90s
Oh, definitely.
movie.
I mean,
so did you try doing any of those regular 90s movies as a, like, कहीं देख सकते हैं आपको क्या?
नहीं, जैसे द्रोह काल में ऐसा हो सकता है.
ओके.
द्रोह काल में नसीर भाई और ओम भाई जो हैं चलते हुए जा रहे हैं, 2 न्यू हम लोग भर्ती हुए हैं, मैं और मिलिंद गुना जी. मिलिंद गुना जी वॉज द हीरो. तो ये 2 लोग हैं, अभी आए हैं, और ऐसे कैमरा चलता है. मिलिंद गुना जी पे पहले मेरी तरफ से चलता है और मैं कहता हूँ सर, और फिर मिलिंद गुना जी पे जाता है. सिंस ही इज गोइंग टू बी अ मेजर कैरेक्टर इन द फिल्म, तो उसके ऊपर में ज़्यादा रहता है.
And that's it. आपका सर, that's it.
उसके बाद नेक्स्ट सीन में मैं मरा हुआ हूँ.
Okay.
So my body is found.
But then you navigate this space, Manoj, and of course you found incredible amount of success
Right.
with Satya, starting with
Right.
Satya, and then you had some element of power in terms of कि आप अब तो आपको नहीं बोलेंगे कि where to cast. You've already been cast as the lead.
Right.
Right. Did that change things for you after that? Like, did it become? Did you see movie industry changing a little bit after Satya? Right after Satya?
Not really, no, because Satya was one fluke, I would say, in our career. Not everybody's was Ram Gopal Verma. There was only one mad guy called Ram Gopal Verma who was hell-bent on doing his own things.
So, rest were the way they were.
Rest, right. The kind of filmmakers who were busy those days, and they were only offering me villains roles, okay, and that was the easy conventional way thinking for them, that this guy can be a villain to say one big star or another. So, and I was not ready to. I realized that Satya has given me a chance. Let me push it further.
Right.
And I preferred to wait and say no to all the villains roles and the money. But it can't happen. Then, to my luck, just when they started thinking that I was just a fluke, Shul happened. When Shul happened, people started looking at me differently as the main lead. Okay. Till then, I was just...
You've spoken about this in the past,
Right.
Manoj, about how in those 8 months while you were refusing work,
Right.
There was a perception created कि भाई ये अपने को समझता क्या है?
हाँ, तो बिल्कुल.
ये स्टार बनेगा क्या?
अमिताभ बच्चन समझता है क्या?
अमिताभ बच्चन समझता है. The way you say Amitabh Bachchan in Satya, Amitabh Bachchan.
Amitabh Bachchan.
No, so
Yeah.
and you've spoken about how there was this culture of blind items at the time.
Right.
Huh?
Trade magazine, all the back pages of the trade magazines, I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, of course, trade guide.
Yeah, so the blind items were very popular. I mean, those were the blind items. So they used to write in almost every edition. They used to curse me, abuse me for being so choosy and saying no to all the big films. But I was very clear that this is the opportunity I'm getting. If I have to wait for another 7-8 years, it doesn't matter. This cannot go away. I have to make people think about me the way I want. I'm thinking about myself. And one film in a year, at the most 2 films. That's how things were happening with me. And then people were interested in me and my work a lot. And then came Pinjar in 1971. By then, the films were not doing well. Okay, the Pinjar was acclaimed.
Yeah, critically acclaimed.
Critically
but not
acclaimed.
necessarily a commercial blockbuster.
Not a commercial earner, or say for that matter, 1971. There was no sign of this film.
That movie actually would be one of the turnaround stories of the pandemic.
Right.
I think people discovered 1971 during pandemic. It went viral.
Viral.
At the same time.
Right. There is another story why we kind of put it out there.
Okay.
And it was just a chance that Amrit Sagar was the director. He happened to call me and he said, Manoj, I was thinking if everybody is at home, can we just release it on YouTube? I said, just do one thing. That's a very good idea. Just put it out on your Sagar Films handle. And you create make some creative and send it to me, because I have followers.
Yeah.
And I started putting it out there. I started requesting few of my friends to post it, and as you all know, it became such a huge blockbuster.
True that. I want to go back to this blind item thing. I'll tell you why. Because I was watching an interview of yours where you were mentioning this, and that word itself is actually to some extent a pandemic word for a lot of people, and that's to do with another actor completely, another actor from Bihar, incidentally, Sushant Singh Rajput, and the perception that was created, and who knows the truth of anything in any case, perception was created that this city killed him. or he couldn't handle the pressures of the city. Would that be fair to say?
But who knows? Who knows? Because there is a person inside his house. What all happened to him? Actually, none of us know. All of us are presuming. Right? All of us are presuming. All of us are guessing. But I have worked with him.
Yes.
He was a guy. He was not a mad guy. He was a guy who was fairly well versed in too many things. He was a voracious reader. Every time I found him reading, every time, on the set, off the set, or having great knowledge about quantum physics and this and that, and talking to me about spiritualism and comparing it with quantum physics. So he was a fantastic mind. I would not like to come to any conclusion because I really don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because till now, even CBI hasn't given any kind of a conclusion about it. So, but for me, that guy was moody, like I am moody. I am moody. I mean, on the same set of Sonchiriya, there was Ranveer Shori, there was me, there was Ashutosh Rana, there was Sushant. All of us had our off days, and that's about it, right? But I must tell you that his news, the death news, hit me so badly that I was really sad for 2-3 months. I've never been sad for so long, as if I have known him so personally, so closely. And just before the pandemic, when I went out to shoot, he called me up and said, Manoj bhai, वो मटन जो आप बनाते हो ना, मुझे खाना है, तो जब भी आप बना रहे हो घर पे बुला लेना. It felt like a personal loss for me. As far as industry is concerned, yes, we used to have chat about it, the politics about it, and I kept on telling him, you should have a thick skin about it. मतलब ये मार देंगे, जान मार देंगे तुम्हारी.
जो आपके पास है.
हाँ ना, क्योंकि मेरे पास है.
But it's not necessary that everyone will have the same thick skin.
I mean, I see so many other people, so many other friends of mine, they don't have that thick skin. I always had it. I was quite used to rejections and the politics because I faced it right after Satya. I faced it when a great drama institute, didn't take me in for 3-4 consecutive years, right? So rejection was part of my life. This is something I have been facing. So I was used to it, right? But not many people, even around me of the same age, they could respond to rejection or the politics in the same way. I'm still facing it. I've been facing it. But you know how to deal with it. Sometimes I deal with it by ignoring it. Sometimes I deal with it by sending the message to the person who is responsible for it कि मारूंगा मैं घर आकर के. Literally. तो साम दाम दंड भेद. तो मैं वो गांव का बिहारी आदमी रहा हूँ कि जो ये सारी चीजें अप्लाई करता है इंटेलिजेंट.
Depending on the situation.
What
you can get away with. No, like for instance, when you moved to Bombay, Manoj, and if I'm not mistaken, you were sharing an apartment with lots of people. A lot of them work in the movies. I guess they were all working in the films at the time, or at least wanted to. सारे तो successful नहीं हुए होंगे ना?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Few of them are equally talented or more talented. They're still trying to find some opening somewhere.
They're still at it.
They're still at it. They have family. They have responsibilities. They are still finding some livelihood from here and there. We are all in touch with each other. But to stay strong, to keep at it with the same passion is something that I admire about them.
When do you think, passion is all great, but what livelihood has to take over?
Yes.
मतलब कितने साल स्ट्रगल ही करते रहोगे?
देखिए, स्ट्रगल इन द सेंस कि लाइवलीहुड भी तो आप वैसे काम से ही कमा पाओगे ना. अगर कोई 2 सीन का रोल है, अभी आजकल 2 सीन के रोल के लिए भी ऑडिशन लेते हैं. अब उस आदमी ने इतना लंबा चौड़ा काम किया, वो ट्रेंड है, थिएटर किया है. अगर मैं मुकेश छाबड़ा मेरा दोस्त है और मैं उसको याद दिलाता हूँ, यार उसका कुछ देखना यार मुकेश. अरे मनोज भाई मैं भूल गया यार, सच में यार दिमाग से ही निकल गया था. अब मुकेश भी कितने लोगों को याद रखेगा.
राइट.
मैं उसको याद दिलाता,
जो दिखता है वो बिकता है.
जो दिखता है बिकता. तो आप एज ए फ्रेंड आप कोशिश करते रहते हो कभी उनको 2 सीन का रोल मिल जाता है, कभी 3 सीन का, कभी कोई किसी सीरियल में मिल जाता है या किसी सीरीज में मिल जाता है, तो या कोई वर्कशॉप कंडक्ट कर रहे हैं, तो लाइवलीहुड तो चलता रहता है उनका। लाइवलीहुड ऐसा भी नहीं है कि कोई उनकी आंखों में यह है कि मैं सीधा जो है स्टार ही बनूंगा, नहीं, वो जैसे तैसे करके अपनी
And
जिंदगी
everyone
चला
has their own measure of success.
हाँ, everyone has their own
You wanted to be an actor, you are an actor, you make a living out of it. That's good enough,
That's
right?
good enough.
Right.
और कुछ नहीं, उनको अपने जो जानने वाले दोस्त हैं मनोज बाजपेयी, सौरभ शुक्ला है, यार ये लोग बुलाते हैं अपने अच्छे ओकेशन पे, हम इसी से खुश हो जाते हैं यार, वी आर वैलिडेटेड, है ना, कि हमारे दोस्त हमको याद रखते हैं।
Right.
तो आप जानते हो कई बार आप हेल्पलेस होते हो कि आप कुछ बड़ा उनके जीवन में चेंज कर दो, लेकिन वो ज़्यादातर समय आप कर नहीं पाते हो। The only thing you can do is just hold their hand, sit with them, have a good
Listen to them,
listen to
spend
them.
time with them.
Yeah.
Which is what you end up. I mean, so there are two aspects to this, and now I'm going to थोड़ा सा pivot करता हूँ conversation को. And one is the aspect of Mumbai as a movie industry.
Right.
Second is the aspect of Mumbai as people. I mean, there are also an audience,
Right.
huge movie buff audience that the city has. Third is Mumbai as people.
Right.
And honestly, Manoj, for someone who's so far out from the city, I don't know anyone who's cracked a Bombay person's role the way you have. Like one to ek to
Right.
Bhiku Mhatre ne phadi diya aapne.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
And then now the last one.
Right.
Matlab, honestly, like it's I'm of course talking about Dispatch.
Yeah,
It's not an easy watch.
No, it
but
is
it's but it's a must watch. And I was looking at you, I'm like, yeah, ye kya performance hai bhai?
Right.
Like you've put another man into Manoj the
Right.
same way that you did with Bhiku Mhatre. You're entering crime scene of Bombay all over again about 26 years
Right.
later. How was this different from that? Of course, the roles are very different. Ek
Not
crime
only
journalist
that,
hai,
but
dusra to gangster hi hai wo.
that was Ram Gopal Verma who was completely trusting and letting you be. And here you have Kanu Bahal, who's a monster of a director. He doesn't leave you at all. And forget about me, a newcomer like Archita who played my girlfriend, or Shahana. Shahana herself is somebody who is like a tigress, when she's doing this kind of a genre. But Kanu Bahal is actually जिसको कहते हैं ना कि उसके ऊपर में भूत आ गया है, मतलब किसी on the set in the workshop he is somebody who's possessed, and literally I'm telling you, literally he doesn't care if you are hurt very badly, he doesn't care if you are crying in the workshop.
That's a bit scary.
He's scary, but his focus is just the character where he wants to take you there, and he wants to dig you as his your own person, your own dark areas with the exercises, this, that. It is him who kind of really dug me deeply. He said, I've seen everything of yours, Manoj sir. I want to see something else. And then he started digging and digging. The initial 5-6 days, I used to laugh at him. You see, I have conducted workshops. I have attended workshops. तो जो भी तू exercise दे रहा है, exactly know what is the purpose of it. So just be more innovative with me, because I want that. If you want some kind of a result which is there in your mind, then you will have to be innovative with your exercise, because everything is very predictable till now. So he was having a great difficulty in handling me in the workshop. He went through hell. And slowly he tapped into it. He tapped into my own dark areas. He tapped into it. It really troubled me. And the purpose of it was to work on everything that has happened with the protagonist before this script begins. And right after the workshop ends, the shooting starts. I don't know, 40 takes, 45 takes, 50 takes, and I asking him, what do you want? He said, I don't know.
He doesn't know himself.
I don't know.
But he'll know when he sees it.
Let's keep exploring, sir. Okay, let's go ahead. And that's the kind of filmmaker who had the ability to make this kind of film, where Mayank Shekhar, a journalist, had such a long career, saying it's not an easy watch. It's a compliment to Kanu Bahal.
Yes.
It's a compliment to the film, believe me. Because it's very difficult. It's very difficult to find that grey, that kind of a grey about this city, that kind of a grey in a working Mumbaikar, with all the celebration of the city and celebration of life, there is a dark area.
It's brutal. It's a cruel city
it's
also.
Cruel city also.
Right.
Yeah, and the people who are working in it, they're the immediate. They are taking the impact almost every minute, right, of this city.
Yeah.
So Joy Bagh is that who's taking the impact of that. Impact is on his relationship. Impact is on his marriage. Impact is on his love affair. Impact is on his professional life. On his life, which is in Borivali, with the mother and handicapped brother is there. So just as an actor, when I used to enter the few of the flats where we shot, it used to hit me so badly. Like my Joy Bagh's house.
It's a real house.
I don't know, but the way he used to find those locations, it used to make everyone uncomfortable, including the cameraman. कैमरामैन मुझसे बोलता था, सर ये कौन सी जगह खोजा है इसने, सर यहाँ डिप्रेशन हो रहा है सर.
Which is so different from Bhiku Mhatre, right?
Yeah, it is so different.
Because Bhiku Mhatre is joyous.
Yeah, he's
in
joyous.
his own way. You've never seen a gangster with so much fun in life also.
No, because when the film starts, he's celebrating, his own independence from Bhau Das Jawle. He was a hitman to Bhau. Now Bhau has gone into politics, and Bhau is blue-eyed boy. Now he has his own gang. He's operating his own gang, and he's on top of the world. So that's why there was the flamboyance about everything.
Right.
Yeah, the happiness of getting the freedom, running his own gang.
You said that you worked 6 months for that role.
Yeah, it was.
So when you say,
because I didn't have anything else.
No, but 6 months. What? I mean, of course, there's a process that you have as an actor. Yeah. But what would you do for 6 months?
Yeah, just when you say, when you say that, I was a Bihari, not that much exposed to Mumbai.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to do then.
So then what do? You went to these parts?
Then you are interacting with the typical Marathi guys, or my maid who's happened to, to work in my own house, and just listening to them, talking to them, trying to emulate their way. And then she's finding you funny, when now she's conversing with you. Then the whole, you're noting down few of the points in your mind, and you don't have script.
This was a movie made without a script.
Yeah, but
one of the greatest movies in Indian cinema has been made without a script.
There was one, very not so clear outline
right.
that Anurag Kashyap told me one day when we had this get together at my place, when drinking get together, and just told me one line. He said, "Baju bhai, यही है जो है, अब देख लो कैसे आप character बना लो." And I started working on the basis of that one line, working on Bhiku Mhatre, trying to make a character, and then I thought that I'll just fit this one into that whenever I get a scene. So it was fun, just creating the character before the script.
So when you say creating character, Manoj, you mean you're writing a backstory of this person?
Yes, definitely.
You're writing it yourself, literally
so
writing it, or in your head?
Sometime writing it.
Okay.
Sometime just here. I remember getting into a shop in Parla. I was shopping for the shirt because Ramu said then you take 25,000 rupees from the production. You do your own costume. You have worked so hard, so I know that you must be having something in your mind. Just show it to me. So I was looking for the right fabric, right shirt.
Some polyester type.
Yeah, because there was this small time gangster in Betia, and he used to wear bobby print. Okay, and he was Jitendra fan. So when white trouser and white shoes he used to wear and drive Rajdoot. So that was there in my mind that I'm going to make this character wear print, but flowy fabric. But that will show his swag, free movement, independence. I just wanted to give that idea.
That's amazing. You're the costume designer of the movie.
Yeah.
Which obviously you didn't get credit for.
I didn't get Manish Malhotra got it. As I'm entering the shop, I was completely oblivious to the fact that someone else is coming out in the same time, the glass door. And I just barged into the shop. I was living like a gangster in my head because I was always thinking only thinking about Bhiku Mhatre, only thinking about Bhiku Mhatre. As I entered, I almost banged into this girl who was, coming out of the shop, and she said, "Excuse me." And the way, I don't know, subconsciously, I just looked at her. And I saw fear in her eyes.
Oh, wow.
And we paused for around, say, 10 seconds, looking at each other, and I could see so much fear in her eyes, and she suddenly turned back and rushed out. So that was mental state I have achieved.
Wow. What were you wearing?
No, I was
regular clothes.
I mean, regular.
You're not dressed like
no,
Bhiku.
no. Just
Right. You're
cotton.
going to shop for Bhiku, right?
No.
Right.
Denim and
So
shorts.
this is obviously way beyond like getting lehza right or something, right?
Yeah,
I
way
remember
beyond.
Nasir once telling me that he thinks the toughest accent to crack is the Marathi accent.
It's very, very tough. So there are too many accents here. I mean, if you were, I don't know how much you remember of Aligarh.
Of course.
That's a literary figure, right?
Yeah.
Ramchandra Siras is the person who is teaching Marathi in Aligarh, right? His passion for Marathi poetry and Lata Mangeshkar singing and a glass of whiskey, that sets him a class apart from Bhiku Mhatre, right?
Right.
Both of them come from a different class. So their Marathi accent is going to be very different. So this is very Tapori, not Tapori, I would say, very rural Marathi guy.
Who's moved to Bombay.
Whose father has moved to Bombay when he was little, and then he used to live in the Chole. Yeah, this is all backstory that I had.
Yes.
And his father used to work for Bhaudhav Zavle. And his father was killed, and Bhaudhav Zavle really took care of the family. And that is why Bhiku cannot even look straight into his eyes when there is a meeting happening and he's scolding him for bumping off Guru Narayan. If you remember that scene.
Yes, of course.
Bhiku is not looking at him, looking straight into his eyes because of the reference, because of the gratefulness.
Like a father figure.
Father figure.
Right.
And that is why I touched his feet. So when I entered and touched his feet, Ramu said, "Why you touched his feet?" I still remember that. I said, "No, because I worked for him." So I didn't want to tell him, elaborate too much about the backstory because Ramu hated it. But see, उतने काम से ये होता है कि आप घुसे तो आपने पैर छुआ, बाकी कोई नहीं छू रहा है पाया, बिकू महात्रे ने पैर छुआ. तो now Ramu has taken the closure of that. So इतना आप काम करते हो तो फायदा तो होता है ना.
राइट. कहाँ से है बिकू?
कोल्हापुर के पास से.
कोल्हापुर.
हाँ. सो इसीलिए जो है थोड़ी उसका जो पूरा लहजा है.
You could totally do a prequel, ना? Prequel और सत्ता तो आपने लिख दी है.
लिख दिया.
Written it. But how is that different from say Joy Bagh, because the process is different? Now the director is sitting on your head, whereas
here Kanu Bahl was somebody who was in control of the situation all the time.
But the way you went to that particular shop,
right,
and you became Bhiku,
right,
how easy was it for you to get in and out of Joy Bagh?
No, it was not easy. I would say much more difficult than that because
really?
the director was such. The director had a month workshop with me, 2-3 month workshop with Archita. Literally used to see these actors coming out of the workshop hall crying. So कनु बहल सच में जो है ना आपको जो है डार्क एरियाज की तरफ लेके जाता है.
You need therapy after that.
मतलब बिल्कुल you need therapy after कनु बहल's workshop and the film. So film जब हम कर रहे थे, there was no way anybody could laugh on the set because Kanu didn't want that. Kanu said it's a very dark film. Please don't disturb the pitch of the film. So everybody
even
was
between
quiet.
cuts.
Even between cuts. So everybody used to be very quiet, very serious. Even the cameraman, that poor guy Siddharth Diwan, one of the best cameramen of this industry. All the time the camera is on the shoulder and the 40 takes. His back was gone. So everybody was into it. It was only Kanu Bahl who was driving each and every department. So this atmosphere was very helpful to me when I was playing this role, because he wanted to go into the grey and dark areas of Joy Bagh and the city. So this city plays a big role in the film,
right.
you know, big role. So when I'm driving my bike also, the city is actually going past. He wanted to see the city shade, and also wanted me to drive on 90, 100 sometime on Western Highway.
Arre baap re.
Oh my God! I
Crazy.
mean, yeah, crazy. So he didn't compromise any time, any moment, and he doesn't care as a director. He wants to achieve that thing which is clear and still not clear to him.
As a character, you're also observing the city as a journalist.
Yeah, he's observing.
Those are your eyes.
Yeah.
You're looking at the underbelly. That's your job.
Right.
It's your job to capture the underbelly for a living. That's what you do for a
And
living.
not trusting anyone. If you
Yeah.
somewhere, you know, few of the crime journalists, I mean, while I was doing it, I realized that I should get that into me. When you were saying that, you know, just one person's name, that you really didn't know where he's going, what was he doing, there was nothing on his laptop once he was shot dead.
Yeah.
And that I realized while doing it. Nobody told me this, that this guy actually moves like a criminal, leaving no trace of him. So if you are covering crime, then you have to have a criminal mindset.
It's such an interesting observation,
Yeah.
Manoj. I mean, there's one thing that you will notice about people in newsroom,
Right.
is that there are people who follow various beats in a newsroom.
Right.
Over time, you'll realize कि ये जो politics जो follow करता है ना, वो politician की तरह ही बात करता है.
Right.
The sports guy speaks like a sports person. The
Right.
entertainment guy speaks like a movie star only.
Right,
You know, and they all become those people that who are their subjects eventually.
Crime investigative journalist said definitely, because day in day out वो उन्हीं
Or
लोगों
they
से
talk
deal
like
कर रहे हैं.
cops.
Or they talk like cops. हाँ,
know?
बिल्कुल. तो वो अगर criminal mind नहीं रहेगा उसका, तो अपने आप को बचा नहीं पाएगा. He will be shot dead first day when he ventures into that area.
And Manoj, you're not saying it, I can say it. The character is clearly modeled on J-Day, a person who is the crime and investigations editor at Midday, which is the office where we are hosting this conversation. The newsroom is upstairs on the 6th floor. It's incredible what this particular film will do to journalists. It's going to make them look at their own jobs very differently. That's the beauty of a film like that.
I mean, look, also you see journalism offices changing, you know, in the film. All the media houses, you see the cabins changing. You see the computer coming in.
The box computers are going.
Going.
And the new ones, the flat screens are coming up. It's beautiful observation.
So everything.
Starting with the digital, the move from print to digital.
And even if you look at it closely, the buildings and the backdrops of the city changing. You know, you see that, and that's how he's wrecked the location. I mean, this is the beautiful thing about, you know, Kanu. If you really surrender it to him, you come out so improved as an actor and as a creative person.
I mean, he has captured the transition.
Right.
You know, and I'm going to talk about your transition.
Right.
Manoj, I mean, of course, you've spoken about this in the past, about how, I mean, there's the phase 1.
Right.
There is the Post-Satya phase 1. There is the phase 2, which is post-Rajniti. Of course, there is Gangs of Wasseypur, who can never forget. My thought is that actually your big phase is Family Man for 2 reasons. One, of course, is that it's a series, something you haven't done before. Second, from a media perspective, it's a transition to OTT.
Right.
That's liberating for a lot of actors. You can explore new kind. Would you agree that Family Man in that sense was a huge turning point for you?
It's amazing, you know. Just when you were, asking me this question, I realized that I have gone through 3 phases of the industry too, and I have done very well in all 3 phases. And all the 3 phases started because of the films or the project I was at the transition point or center point, like Satya or Gangs of Wasseypur or Family Man, with the advent of, say, with the emergence of OTT.
Right.
Those Sacred Games was successful. The first one was really successful.
And I think it was massy and mainstream in that sense, the way Family Man was.
The Family Man is more than massy and mainstream. Somewhere it was also talking about family. The family people could not sit together and watch Sacred Games. They had too many criticisms.
Second season to nahi dekh sakte.
But with Family Man, the plus was it was a very good, very well made. It was it was a well-made series, but at the same time you could watch it with everybody.
Yeah.
So that was plus for us. So all the people who are used to watching say, Saas Bahu on satellite, that crowd came to Family Man, and also the crowd which was
into new age content,
new age content, in going to the theatre, they also came to us. So somewhere we Family Man benefited, and I was at the center of it. Okay, so I definitely, you are right. With OTT, I benefited a lot because of Family Man's short success. Suddenly, I had 2 choices, say in a month, or 3 choices. Now there are 6 choices, 7 choices. Now, at the time when we are talking, there are too many choices. Okay, this is what has changed. The films in general, they were not interested in actors like Manoj Bajpayee or say an actors like me. They were not even looking at us as one of their preferences, right? Because they have not been making those kind of films. अब मनोज को अब थोड़ी किसी एक्शन BFX हेवी फिल्म में लोगे नहीं लोगे, बिकॉज मैं उस तरह का एक्टर कभी नहीं रहा हूँ. तो जो फिल्में थिएटर के लिए बन सकती थी या बनती थी लेकिन उनको एग्जिबिटर नहीं मिलते थे, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, वो OTT पे आने शुरू हुई. एंड आई वाज द बेनिफिशियरी बिकॉज आई वाज द ऑब्वियस चॉइस ऑफ इट. फिर सीरीज़ के कारण मुझे फ़ायदा हुआ. लेकिन मैंने सीरीज़ अगर आप देखें तो सिर्फ 2 की, एक किलर सूप किया था, एक फैमिली मैन किया था. किलर सूप इज़ a completely different genre. I loved it, and that's one of my favorite. And also the films. All the films where I am protagonist, they could hardly be made for theatrical.
Like a Gulmohar.
Well, Gulmohar, or say Bhosle.
Bhosle, yeah.
Or say Joram. Okay? Even ek banda kafi hai. I mean, so
you released in a theater though. I think a lot of people loved it when they watched it in the cinema. Yeah.
After the release, it kind of, there was so much of a demand, then we kind of released it. But what I'm enjoying the most is that there are good scripts. There are only good scripts offered to me. Now I have to choose the best out of it. That's also a tricky thing, but I think I'm enjoying that part the most. And I've really benefited a lot with the emergence of, with the coming of OTT. And, touch wood and keeping my finger crossed, yeah.
And playing an ordinary man, right?
I'm playing an ordinary man.
That was what is lovely about Family Man. I mean,
and ordinary man with Family Man, ordinary man with Kanu Behas, so I'm getting a chance to really be part of the films that I always wanted to be part of.
But the market did not allow at the time.
Market didn't allow. I mean, अभी कैसे allow करता? उस समय तो मतलब इस तरह की फिल्में 3 करोड़ भी लोग नहीं देते थे. Now there are few buyers, there are few platforms. Somewhere they get interested if I say yes to it. Right. Which is a good thing. This is what I wanted to do. This is what is getting promoted because I'm there. Why not?
And it's the return of the common man in that sense. Yeah. I mean, I like the fact that you mentioned once about Family Man, that you modeled it, or at least, I don't know whether you modeled it, but you said it is R.K. Lakshman's Common Man.
Yeah, it is R.K. because he's actually talking about everything that a common man is going through. He's that man.
Right. Like एक मैं अभी हाल में एक statue देखा मैंने, which is of course of common man. Bombay में there are a couple of them. Right. And I was looking at the statue and like, this man जो balding है, एक tweed jacket पहना है, और धोती पहना है. That man does not exist anymore. The common man doesn't look like this anymore. No, probably looks like Shrikant Tiwari.
Right, Shrikant Tiwari. Yeah. So everything that he's going through, they relate to him.
Yeah.
He can be anywhere. Shrikant Tiwari, you can actually think in your mind that you can find him traveling in a local train, or you can at the same time you can imagine him traveling in metro.
Yeah.
At the same time, you can imagine him taking a taxi also.
Yeah, and he can get off and go to a 5-star hotel.
A 5-star hotel also.
Right.
So, and his problems are very similar to people's problem.
Do you feel like a common man?
I am a common man.
Yeah?
Yeah. I could never think of anything else. I don't know. Maybe because of the place I come from. पहले तो क्या है कि सत्या के कुछ साल तक तो मैं गिल्ट होता था 5-स्टार में जाते हुए भी गिल्ट होता था. तो इट वाज अक्षय खन्ना हु सेड, मनोज, व्हाई यू आर फीलिंग सो गिल्टी अबाउट योर सक्सेस? दैट्स डोंट फील गिल्टी, ओन इट. मतलब जब मैं अपनी गाड़ी में बैठा तो मुझे लगा आई एम सिटिंग इन समबडी एल्सेस कार.
व्हाई डू यू से दैट?
या बिकॉज so you are, because for such a long period you have not seen all of this, so you're not used to it. Like मुझे लोग कहते हैं, are you comfortable with the attention that you've been getting from people? I said, no, how can I? Tell me. I'm very nice to them, I'm very polite to them, but you, to expect me to be comfortable, no, for 25 years I haven't gotten that attention, yeah. You know, that kind of attention. I should get attention, you know, here and there. But this kind of attention that I'm getting, I've not been used to it. I mean, सब बाकी सारे स्टार तो 30 साल से स्टार हैं सर. उनको और कुछ पता ही नहीं होगा.
और कुछ पता ही नहीं. That is true. That is true. Salman wouldn't know what it is to be a common man. What does it mean?
What is to be मनोज बाजपेयी? उसको पता ही नहीं होगा. क्या है ये? मतलब जब चल रहा है तो 50 लोग साथ में चल रहे हैं, 40 साथ में चल रहे हैं, चाहे शाहरुख का हो, चाहे
सर आपकी भी अंतराज जैसे कम नहीं है.
नहीं, अंतराज नहीं है.
अंतराज के साथ ही आए हैं आप भी.
नहीं वो
सारे सब बैठे हैं.
नहीं, ये G5 वाले हैं.
अच्छा ठीक है. But so there is that other side of you, Manoj, which is, you know, married for many years. You know, like a family man side of you. Actually, I want to speak about your wife a little bit.
Right.
Shabana, like we first saw her in Kareeb,
right,
1998. Big blockbuster opening wali filmein. Bobby Deol was making a debut.
Right.
Shabana was making a debut. Vidhu Vinod Chopra was the director.
Right.
Why did she quit films?
She didn't quit.
Okay.
She didn't quit. No. She stopped getting work for some reason, and you know, too many politics here and there, and someone coming from outside really don't have any other mentor, and the mentor truly was when it was Vinod.
I heard this one anecdote, which please tell me if it's true, that there was one time that when they were shooting this film, Vinod bit her hand.
Because it was Shabana, because she didn't have any film training of that sort. In the song, she was raising a different hand altogether. I mean, she was supposed to raise left hand, but by mistake she was lifting the right hand. Then he bit her there just for her to remember that this is the hand to be raised. मेरे साथ कोई नहीं कर सकता वो.
Come on, किसी के साथ नहीं करना चाहिए.
So yeah, because she was new, she didn't know. She thought that this is the way directors behave.
Mad geniuses.
Mad geniuses. कुछ भी कर सकते.
And then there is of course your daughter.
Yeah.
For someone who's been in Bombay, the city has a lot of great schools.
Right.
Why would you send your child to study in a boarding school? Is there a Bombay angle to this story? Is there something that you thought Bombay is not the best place to raise a child?
It's not about that. It's not only about that. It was difficult to take her from one class to another class to another class. This is badminton class, this is tennis class, then to swimming class. It was difficult, and then she's coming back tired after her school. I mean, 1 hour of bus journey or 45 minutes of bus journey. She's tired. When she's coming home, she hardly has any energy left to go for the play or sit down to finish her homework. Nothing. So, and also on weekends, तो टेनिस क्लास पे ले जाओ, फिर इधर ले जाओ, फिर उधर ले जाओ, और ये सारी चीज़ें आपको बोर्डिंग स्कूल में एवरीथिंग इज इन वन बिल्डिंग.
Interesting.
एंड देन ऑल्सो कटिंग डाउन ऑन डिजिटल कंजम्पशन एट दिस एज. यू कांट completely cut down. But what boarding does that if you are not studying, then you don't need computer. Then go and play. Okay? Or just faff around with your friends. Do some human interaction rather than just getting lost in your what you call an iPad is not a good thing. So there is a restriction on iPad using, and there are no phone allowed.
Right.
Only on.
And where is the school? Panchgani, if I'm.
No, it's right outside Bombay.
Okay, so she can come down she comes over for the weekend.
Sometime. Right now her exams are going on, so she will not come for another 2-3 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can go visit her.
Always.
That's actually a desire more than a question, Manoj. I mean, the life you've led, and of course, you have inspired a whole generation of performers,
Thank you.
actors. Have you thought of writing a memoir?
I want somebody who is constantly with me.
To observe you. Back in the day, there was one Amitabh Kumar.
Right. He's a friend of mine.
He's a friend of yours. He was writing a book on you.
Yeah.
I was once at an event in Worli where you were there. I think you were the chief guest of that event.
Right.
और मैं देख रहा हूँ कि ये अमिताभ कुमार घूमेगा. ये कर क्या रहा है? ये क्या observe कर रहा है यार ये? He was writing a book on you. I don't know what happened with that book.
I mean, nothing happened. Then he thought of writing a fiction. around my character or something like that. So, but he's quite a good friend of mine. And this is what we have achieved. He could not write a book on me, and I told him this is too early to write a book on me. But also, I think now is the right time when I can find someone to just be with me all the time, because all the anecdotes, all these small things, all this small thought about in that moment, I can't remember in one sitting. Okay?
Correct.
I'll have to really keep revisiting the computer or the phone. कि भैया ये याद आ रही यार, वो जो 1970 की बात है यार, मैं जब 5 साल का था, 3 साल का था, तब ये हुआ था, मेरी माँ ने बोला था, याद आया मुझे, तो उसको जॉट डाउन किया. Now once you jot down everything, then you systematically you start putting it in. But वो सब करने के लिए I need someone, because most of the time I'm so busy, so immersed into the character which I'm playing. So I need someone who is always with me most of the time. Then only we can achieve it in 2 years, not before that.
Right.
Yeah.
And we started this conversation with the fact that you're not too much into nostalgia. So it's going to take more than 2 years to put it all together into a book.
Because when you are not into nostalgia, that means you are not giving that much importance to your
You're living in the moment.
You are living in the moment.
Right.
So अपने आप को भी उतना इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं दे रहा. ठीक है ना यार, स्ट्रगल तो बहुत लोग करते हैं ना, इतना क्या बड़ा चीज़ है उसमें. तो पहले से ही जो है, यू आर नॉट गिविंग दैट मच ऑफ इम्पोर्टेंस टू योर जर्नी. फिर उस पर जो है, टू फाइंड दोज नुआंसेस इज समथिंग आई वुड लाइक टू डू. बिकॉज इंटरव्यूज़ में तो आप ऊपर से छू के निकलते हो हर चीज़ों को. इट हैज़ टू बी अ कैरेक्टर स्टडी फ्रॉम माई ओन सेल्फ, like what Charlie Chaplin has done to himself in his autobiography. He was brutal with himself. He was brutal. So उतनी brutality के लिए जिगर भी चाहिए.
So at least you're thinking along those lines.
Yeah.
And that's the story that we'll wait for.
Right.
Thank you very much, Manoj Bajpayee.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Bank. Thank you. Always so pleasure.
Always. Cheers.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.